Wizards of the Coast is caught lying about using AI-generated art again, plus we take a look at some upcoming products from Kromlech. All this and more in this week's Hobby News. My name is Angela, and you're watching Hobby Night. Wizards of the Coast apparently just can't help themselves because despite banning AI art from their company, they continue to use AI art within their company. This time around, it came from a Twitter ad for these 5 land cards that you see here, and I have a little bit of a larger version if you're wanting to see in a bit more detail. And you might be going, okay, this doesn't look too bad at first glance, but when you start really looking at this machinery, you'll immediately start noticing that there's some weird things happening, especially around some of these cables here, these cables here, the dial here. There's a lot of little strange details that don't quite make sense, and people on Twitter immediately started calling Wizards of the Coast out on some of these details, circling them, going, what is going on here? What's this fuzziness? What even is happening? Why do these cables look so weird? How are they even connecting to this? And it just kept going on and on. As you can see, we have even more here. Again, really focusing on those cables because for some reason, individual strands of things, whether it be fingers, cables, hair, AI just kind of has a problem with it. This is my favorite. This is my favorite of the examples of it very obviously being AI generated because it goes from being 4 cables down to 3 cables. I'm not sure how they managed to do that, but it is amazing and it really means that it's AI generated. So what does this mean? Because Wizards of the Coast has claimed to not want to use AI generated stuff. And it does seem like they were caught a little bit off guard by the vendor that they worked with not actually telling them, oh yeah, we used the Photoshop built-in AI tools to help us with this. But I really feel like it should be obvious. And if Wizards of the Coast is going to make a stand against AI art and go, we want to support human artists, then they need to have people on their staff who are looking at these marketing materials, who are looking at the art that is going into the books or onto the cards or whatever other products that they may be producing, and actually looking at it and paying attention to the details to go, has this have some kind of AI generated anything in it? Because right now, they're not doing that. If they were, stuff like this would not be continuing to happen. Now, they banned their artists that they commission from using AI art, but apparently they didn't consider that for their vendors, which again, really doesn't make sense to me. And I do feel like it's a little disingenuous from Wizards of the Coast of, if you care so much, if you're gonna make this grand stance against AI art, then you need to be putting effort in to making sure that you're actually dealing with this AI art appropriately and not letting it continuously slip into your products. I think I'm just mad, and I do apologize if I sound like I'm ranting a little bit, but as somebody who considers herself an artist and who has a lot of friends who do actively do art as their career and that's how they make their money, it's really distressing to me to see companies like Wizards of the Coast try to back those artists up but then turn around and just go against everything that they're saying and continuing to use the tools that they say they don't want to use. It just seems incredibly rude to me. And I know it's a product of late stage capitalism. I know it's because despite the fact that these businesses were built upon artists and use artists and have always been about art because games are a form of art, they still have been overrun by just suit-wearing executives who are completely just separated from the product and just look at it as, this is how I make money, and it is nothing beyond that. And I wish they cared. I know it's hard, and I know that they probably won't, and that this is a pipe dream on my part, but it's just something that I'm very passionate about, that I really care about, and I really just want to see Wizards stop doing stuff like this, to stop having to delete their posts because they keep making these mistakes. It's just really sad to see because Wizards of the Coast is a company that I at one point respected. I know people who have worked for them and have done card art for them, and I just don't want to see those people lose their jobs because ultimately down the line, I have a feeling that Wizards of the Coast is not going to care anymore. They're going to embrace AI art because Hasbro embraces it, and it's just going to go downhill from there, and it makes me really, really sad. I'd love to know your opinions. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys can encourage me to have optimism that Wizards of the Coast will in fact change their mind, stick to their guns, and support human artists, but right now I'm just feeling so bummed about it. Let's talk about it down in the comments. Hey guys, just jumping into the video to remind you to hit that subscribe button and bell icon for notifications so you never miss future content on the channel. And if you're into the spicier side of the hobby, you can find a link to my OnlyFanatics down in the link tree below in the description. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the video. Next, I want to talk about a new board game coming from the creator of Wingspan, and frankly, I'm surprised she didn't release this version of the game ages ago. I think this is going to be brilliant and super fun. Let's take a look.
You're an amateur dracologist.
Yes, I've always wanted to be one.
All shapes, sizes, and colors roam the skies and the depths. Welcome to the world of Wyrmspan.
Wyrmspan!
Like its predecessor Wingspan, here you have an ever-evolving player mat where you collect and visit dragons.
Oh, I'm so excited.
To study these dragons, entice them into their cave of choice by paying a coin.
The art in this game in Wingspan originally was so beautiful, and they continue to blow my mind with the gorgeous watercolor artwork.
Excavating caves makes room for more dragons in your sanctuary. Gain even
if I do have one criticism, I wish the game boards were unique to each player, like maybe different color palettes, but that's just a small thing.
Achieving end-round objectives and gaining notoriety with the Dragon Guild. Wyrmspan features 183 dragon cards, including
which look
35
really cool.
hatchlings, 75 cave cards, 4 double-sided Dragon Guild tiles, and 10 double-sided objective tiles for replayability and player interaction.
All the cardboard you could want.
Pad, 5 player mats and tokens, 45 shiny cardboard coins, 100 resource tokens, and 55
I'm curious what those actually look
speckled
like, the
dragon
shiny
eggs.
cardboard coins.
Wyrmspan is a 1 to 5 player medium weight competitive engine building game designed by Connie Vogelman, illustrated by Clementine Campardo, and developed by Elizabeth Hargrave. Expand your dragon sanctuaries for 60 to 90 minutes in early 2024.
And when they say early 2024, they mean early 2024. The game is actually going to be out in mid-March, according to the website for Stonemaier. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with this. Now, I never played Wingspan originally. I actually have a traumatic experience with Wingspan because when that game came out, I was in the board game selling business, and good lord, people went insane. It was just, I've never seen people get so desperate for a board game in my life. I am blown away. And that's kind of actually why I'm really surprised that Wyrmspan was not out earlier, because doing Wingspan, this beautiful engine building game with these gorgeous colors and details and beautiful eggs, oh my gosh, works perfectly when you translate it into dragons, and fantasy themes, in my personal opinion, are fantastic. So the fact that we're finally getting a fantasy version of Wingspan means that I might actually finally try out this amazing engine building game. I was taking a look at what Kromlech has coming for us in 2024, and there's something in this trailer that has gotten me so excited and got my brain a-buzzing with ideas. So we're gonna watch it together, and then I'm gonna talk about some of what my brain's doing right now, because it's going wild. Now, they have a lot of really cool products, and if you've never checked out Kromlech before, I'd highly encourage you to take a look at their website, Bits of War, and use my affiliate link to get there if you'd like and save a little bit using my discount code, which you can find in the video description below. Now, these orcs that we're seeing right now, those heads that just passed, that was the inspiration that made me want to talk about this particular upcoming 2024 release from Kromlech, because while we are seeing some really cool models and a lot of really neat things that you can definitely get your hands on using my discount code, but the thing that has me the most excited is specifically those orcs, because look at them. They're beautiful. And you see, I have been sitting on a giant resin pirate ship-esque vehicle that is a conversion from Kromlech for some orc vehicle. I don't remember which one specifically off the top of my head, but it is a giant pirate ship. And I have been wanting to do something where I paint One Piece characters. Now, there aren't really One Piece models as far as I can tell out there, but what if I painted up the One Piece characters as orcs and I could use these heads, these beautiful heads, one of them at least, for Frankie? It would be so brilliant. It has got me absolutely just buzzing to be able to get my hands on these, and I'm really, really excited for what Kromlech has in store. They have constantly got really cool things between terrain, miniatures, bits, all sorts of stuff for you to be able to play around and spruce up your Warhammer armies and do it at a little bit of a cheaper deal than what you get from Games Workshop. So I highly encourage you to check them out. Use my affiliate link below and my discount code. Last but certainly not least this week, we have a small announcement from Games Workshop. The announcement is that there's a Warhammer preview coming up starting on January 18th and happening at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which means that my watch-along party, if you want to see all the cool reveals and watch them with me, will begin at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am very sorry for everybody that is in Europe and the UK, because that means it's, especially in the UK, because it's going to be starting at 4:30 a.m. for you guys, but I promise it'll be totally worth it. We're going to be able to see tons of cool reveals together and chat about them all. And if we don't get to see cool reveals, well, then we can gripe together and then just curse out Games Workshop live in my stream. It'll be fun no matter what. I always look forward to these kinds of events because generally I find that Games Workshop doesn't disappoint and they tend to have some pretty cool new things in the lineup, and it's always pretty exciting. So if you want to join me and see all of the reveals coming up, make sure to be here on the channel on January 18th, starting at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time for my watch-along party. All right, that has been it for this week in hobby news. Now, before I head out, I want to give a final thank you not only to my patrons, but also to my YouTube members for making it so content like this can continue to happen. If you'd like to support them and helping keep the channel going, you can find a link to my Patreon down below or click the button to become a YouTube member today. I have been Angela, and I hope you have a wonderful hobby night.